There are countless examples of hot feuds that just couldn't cut it come crunch time inside the ring, and the best or worst of them are here. So enjoy reliving epic, well thought out story beats, then cringing when remembering what happened next, when it arguably counted most. So I am Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 10 worst wrestling matches with the best builds. Number 10, Bret Hart vs Vince McMahon, when WWE WrestleMania 26. Bret Hart's unlikely WWE return in 2010 remains one of wrestling's most obvious too late guys moments. The Hitman wasn't physically the same as he'd been 13 years earlier during the Montreal Screwjob days, and wasn't even cleared to bump. But Vince McMahon was determined to put a bow on that story once and for all. So he and Bret tussled in an awkward calamity of a match at WrestleMania 26. Before getting there though, the pair worked in some wonderful dueling promos that whisked people back to the late 1990s. At times, Hart seemed legitimately fired up at Vince, and things looked promising if significant bells and whistles were used to help them brawl. Bret patched things up with old enemy Shawn Michaels, then received a swift boot in the balls from McMahon for daring to expect the same apology. It was dramatic, it was over the top, and it was deserving of better than the Hart clan almost turning Vince babyface by accident come Mania. Oh, what could have been, eh? Number 9, Adam Cole vs Chris Jericho, when AEW Double or Nothing 2023. This is a super recent example of frankly dreadful payoff to a story that rumbled along quite nicely on television. Both Chris Jericho and Adam Cole played their roles to the hilt on episodes of Dynamite and Rampage. The latter C-show even included a thumping pull-apart hockey-style fight that you needed to see. Throughout, Cole played the fiery babyface who couldn't be stopped with aplomb, and Jericho knew exactly when to act like a coward. ECW original Sabu even dropped by as Cole's insurance policy against the Jericho Appreciation Society. It was Wrestling 101, I say. But then the bell sounded at Double or Nothing and things just fell apart. It was a total bummer, to be honest. Jericho and Cole worked a painfully slow, unsanctioned match that barely made use of Sabu's AEW arrival or thrilled fans at all. The 19-minute clanger sucked and might actually be one of the worst All Elite pay-per-view matches ever. They just couldn't match the hefty build come pay-per-view time. Now let's take a break from the negativity for a second, and I want to ask you what's been your favourite AEW pay-per-view match ever. Let me know in that comment section right down below this video. Number 8, Randy Savage vs Jake Roberts, when WWF Saturday Night's Main Event, the 8th of February 1992. This could be a controversial one, but here goes. Wrestling will never forget that snake-biting angle Jake Roberts and Randy Savage worked on Superstars towards the end of 1991. It was one of the most shocking things that had ever happened on WWF screens, and it should have led to ultimate revenge for Randy. Macho Man and his snake-loving nemesis had exactly 3 matches after that. One of them happened on an MSG house show special, another came at the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, and the other was in early February 1992 on Saturday Night's Main Event. Sadly, it lasted approximately 5 minutes and didn't properly avenge Jake's evil behaviour. The brief scuffle was heated, but there was something missing. If anything, their rivalry had become so violent, it needed to peak on a big-time pay-per-view. Vince McMahon had other plans for both come WrestleMania though, so they were landed with an uninspiring blow-off in the end. Number 7, Becky Lynch vs Charlotte Flair vs Ronda Rousey, when WWE WrestleMania 35. Firstly, it's important to say that these women deserve to headline WrestleMania 35. Or to be more accurate, Becky Lynch vs Ronda Rousey deserved to main event the biggest show of the year. Charlotte Flair was just kind of thrown in there by Vince McMahon during the build to add extra value. Fans had been teased with the man versus the baddest woman on the planet for a while though, so there was something unsatisfying about the Queen just poking her nose in. Regardless, things looked promising when the trio worked a dramatic parking lot brawl skit that saw cops show up to arrest them following some seriously meaty strikes. The Mania match just couldn't live up to the billing in the end. It was little more than a standard triple threat that came at the end of a long show, and the botched finish certainly didn't help. This is another what could have been situation for WWE. Bex vs Ronda would have probably been better on its own. Number 6, Brock Lesnar vs Goldberg, when WWE WrestleMania 20. Yes, this belongs here. No, don't make that face. It does, alright? The beauty of WWE's build towards Brock Lesnar vs Goldberg was simplicity. Creative didn't over-egg the pudding by trying to squeeze in awkward comedy or too many gimmicks. Instead, they had Brock brag about being unstoppable at Survivor Series before Bill muscled in to say, "Ah, you think so, son?" From there, Lesnar attacked Goldberg during the 2004 Royal Rumble and paved the way for Kurt Angle to eliminate him. Seeking payback, Bill interfered in Brock's WWE title defense versus Eddie Guerrero at No Way Out, and Lesnar blamed him for losing the belt. But that's when things went south. Steve Austin was wheeled out as a special guest ref, which diluted the focus slightly but was still tolerable. Then news spread that both Brock and Bill would be leaving the company immediately after Mania. Infamously, MSG fans trolled both and made it impossible for them to get on with a powerhouse showdown. Oh well, the build was fun at least. Number 5, Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, WWE SummerSlam 2005.
Oh, brother, do, brother.
This is sort of what Shawn Michaels went for when ripping the piss out of Hulk Hogan's promo style during a parody skit on TV heading into SummerSlam 2005. At this point, HBK was invested in the rivalry and clearly wanted to make the most of it. That would change though. It all started so well. Michaels and Hulk had actually been unlikely tag team partners before Shawn delivered a killer sweet chin music to Old Terry in July. After that treachery, Michaels went on a rampage, ridiculing everything about Hogan's nostalgic act, and things seemed set up for a winner on pay-per-view. At SummerSlam, Shawn took it upon himself to oversell like nobody had oversold before. He was mocking Hulk's favorite spot by bouncing around like a character from the WWE All-Stars video game, and that absolutely ruined the match. Or made it if you're a Hogan hater. Number 4, Triple H versus Batista, when WWE WrestleMania 35.
Give me what I want!
Batista yelled that at Triple H countless times during the build towards their Mania 35 clash. Armed with a volley of saliva, Big Dave got borderline comedic as he hollered with entitled rage about his destiny and whatnot. Some might argue that the feud dipped a bit during all of that, but one angle on the 25th of February 2019 edition of Raw was iconic. There, Batista battered a helpless Ric Flair and dragged him around the arena as Trips led Ric's birthday celebrations live in ring. It was one of the most provocative moments fans had witnessed in years. Could the match follow it? Yeah, no, it couldn't. Their no-holds-barred match went 25 minutes, and it was a long 25, and featured such spots as Hunter ripping out Dave's nose ring. Perhaps Batista tripping during his entrance should have told everyone what kind of night they were in for, eh? That Flair beatdown was fab though. Number 3, Sting versus Hollywood Hogan, when WCW Starrcade 1997. It would have been easy for Eric Bischoff to hotshot Sting versus Hogan into the ring way earlier than he did. But Bish knew the WCW versus NWO story, with Stinger acting as the former's final line of defense against the latter, should headline Starrcade 1997. So Sting stalked the faction for approximately 1 full year, and performed several memorable Batman-style sweepdowns to fend them off on TV. Anticipation was at a fever pitch by the time the match rolled around, and Hogan beat the snot out of Sting like he was some nobody. That continued for far too long. Then a screwy finish handed WCW the world title back, and fans scratched their heads as to why the hero hadn't vanquished the villain when he really needed to. Enjoy the glorious build, but skip the match. Number 2, Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar, WWE WrestleMania 32. Dean, not quite Jon Moxley again Ambrose, must have been in dreamland weeks before tangling with Brock Lesnar at Mania 32. WWE dropped the goofiest side of Dean's on-screen personality and played up to his CZW origins by letting Ambrose tease ultra-violence in skits with heroes like Mick Foley and Terry Funk. Everything from a barbed wire baseball bat to a damn chainsaw was teased during passionate skits that saw legends encourage Dean to literally cut down Brock on the biggest show of the year. Sadly, Lesnar wasn't really feeling the thought of working with Ambrose, and he phoned in his performance overall. Their match just turned into a semi-squash. It was slow, the violence wasn't anywhere near as extreme as the build suggested it would be, and again, Brock was visibly disinterested. Let's just say this was incredibly poor lead-in to Dean's WWE title win later that same year. Number 1, Hollywood Hogan versus Kevin Nash, when WCW Monday Nitro the 4th of January 1999. The majestic NWO story that shot WCW to the top of the industry was almost 3 years old by the time tensions boiled over between original members Hollywood Hogan and Kevin Nash in January 1999. Seizing the moment, company chiefs promoted a war to settle the score between the NWO Hollywood and Wolfpack leaders on Nitro. Or not. You see, the entire thing was a sneaky plan whipped up by Hogan and Nash to assume total control of WCW's world title all over again. The dreary finger poke of doom turned their hotly anticipated main event into a farce, and had approximately 40,000 folks inside the huge huge Georgia Dome wondering why they'd purchased tickets. Some say this moment started WCW's rapid decline. In truth, creative rot had started to set in before that, but dreadfully ill-advised guff like the finger poke did nothing to help fan confidence in the product. That terrific build towards an NWO implosion had been utterly wasted. And that's our list. Know of any other bad wrestling matches with the best builds? Well, throw them in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, if you love this sort of bad/best stuff, then why not head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Cheers for chilling with us for a bit today. Hopefully you'll come back soon, but in the meantime, big up to yourself and bye-bye.